Hello, everyone. I'm experimenting again. I've been looking at PowerPoint. I've been looking at some of my writing. I've been working out how potentially people could run some little workshops on our new Seven Seas Wellbeing Centre on school. So this is really a test to see if we can do this. You can just about see George Cat in the corner there. I'm going to try and share my screen and let's see how we go. Here we go. Share and oh, and we would like to slideshow, slideshow um, from the beginning. There we go. Brilliant. Now, this is all about reflections and intentions. What I like to do 4 times a year, and this is one of the times, I like to look back on the previous 3 months, work out what's gone well, work out what's been challenging, work out what I can learn from all of that, and that can help me to set my intentions for the next 3 months. I've been doing this for my own personal life, but also for Kathy's Wellbeing Club. And actually, December, as I'm speaking, in December, Kathy's Wellbeing Club are working on a collaborative book all about reflecting. And it has got a little bit about intentions. So at the end of this month, we will be publishing that. And I really hope you enjoy reading it. We will tell you more about it. We'll have a little launch in early January. But for now, what I'd like you to do is play along. Get yourself a pen and paper or a journal, or you might like to type things up on your laptop or on your iPad or whatever you use. And we are going to reflect and set some intentions using Whispers wheels. I'll tell you a bit more about that. Anatole and the Wheel of Whispers was a book that I wrote a little while back, and it says it all begins with you because it does. We are way more powerful than we think we are. If you put the news on and you see all the terrible things happening in the world, you can feel quite helpless. But actually, starting from yourself, if you work on the things that you can change, you can have a ripple effect, a very positive effect on the people around you. And together, we really can create a much happier world and a real proper sense of community, which is what Kathy's Wellbeing Club and the Seven Seas Wellbeing Centre and Kathy's Wellbeing Cafe are all about. So, are we ready? It's time for us to reflect back on the last 3 months. Have a think to yourself about the things that have gone well and the things that actually have been quite challenging. And what we're going to do, using our Whispers wheel, I'd like you to write W, and under that write H, under that write I, S, P, E, R, and S. Each of those stands for one aspect of your life. If you look at the wheel, you've got 8 spokes on the wheel. W stands for one of them, H the next, and so on, all the way round. I would like you, and try not to overthink this because it can get complicated. We just want to keep it simple. I would like you to just score yourself how you feel about your work life. And next to the W, standing for work life, that could be voluntary work, it could be paid work, anything that you regard as work. What would you score the last 3 months out of 8? If it's gone really well, it would be 8. If it's really been a struggle, it would be 1. And for a lot of people, it would be somewhere in the middle. When you've done that, move on to your home life. Everybody's home life is very different. Some people will find that they score more highly on their home life, other people not so much. Score your home life as it is over this last 3 months out of 8. When you've done that, move on to your interests. You might have hobbies and interests, and it might be over the last 3 months you've had a lot of time for those and you really think they're going well, in which case you would score them 8. If you've got some hobbies and interests and you've got really very little time for them, you might give it a lower score. Or it might be that actually you're feeling quite isolated and you haven't got any interests, and maybe that's something that you can work on in the next few months. So score how you feel about your interests out of 8. Next, move on to your spiritual or your religious life. Some people are religious, some people are not. It's really about how you feel about whether there's a higher power, whether you're feeling guided, supported, that kind of thing, and score that out of 8. P stands for physical aspects of your life. That can include your environment, it can include your mobility, your physical health, it can include anything physical. Please give that a score out of 8. And move on to your emotional life. How do you feel emotionally? Is your well-being good? Do you feel supported? Give yourself a score out of 8. Next, we're moving on to relationships. What would you give your relationships as a general score out of 8? It might be a partner, it might be a family member, it might be relatives, friends, work colleagues. Taken as a whole, how do you feel about the way your relationships are right now? And give that a score out of 8. And finally, score security. That can include how secure you feel about where you're living. It can include whether you've got enough money in the bank, how are your savings, what's your pension looking like, that kind of thing. Give that a score out of 8. Hopefully now you've got a score of 8 out of 8 for your work life, your home life, your interests, your spiritual life, your physical life, your emotional life, your relationships, and your security. Well done. That's the tricky bit. Like I said, don't overthink it, just come up with a number. Now, I would like you to choose 2 of those areas to work on. I feel like if you work on them all over the 3 months, that could be overwhelming. What I like to do is choose an area that's going quite well. It just needs another little push to bring it up to a higher score. Even 1 more mark is a good thing. Or if it's already at 8, how to really maintain it there. And then choose another area that you're finding more challenging. I find that if you work on something that you find easier and is more effective for you to work on, it can really encourage you, and you can find that you get benefits in all 8 areas, but particularly the other area that you're working on. I've been doing this for a while now, and I find this to be the case. I might be working really hard on, say, the emotional aspects and the relational aspects of my life, and then find there's improvements in my security. So it's quite amazing how it all works out. But pick 2 areas that you would like to focus on in the next 3 months. Now we're going to set our intentions. Now, to me, very specific goals can be kind of hard work. So what I like to do is have a general intention in a couple of areas in my life. So, for example, for me, I would like to improve my physical aspects of my life. That does include my mobility. And also, I've still got some work to do on decluttering and tidying up my physical environment. So that's like my tricky area. And I'm going to work also on my interests, which includes the Wellbeing Club. I've chosen that because that one scores quite highly. I'm quite happy with how it's going, and I really do enjoy it. So they're the 2 areas I've chosen to work on. What areas would you like to work on? Take some time and have a think about what you might decide to work on, and then come up with some kind of affirmation, which is a positive statement about those intentions. So, for example, I'm going to say, the physical areas in my life get better every day. I'm also going to say, I find time to work on my hobbies and my interests. So those are 2 intentions. They're 2 affirmations of what I'm going to try and achieve in the next 3 months. I can choose some specific goals from that. For example, if I wanted to, I could say, right, at the moment, I go for a 10-minute walk every day. I might want to move that up to 15 minutes. And that could be a very specific goal that I might like to set for myself. But the general intention is for the next 3 months, focusing on those physical aspects of my life and also the interests so that I've got this lovely balance. Have a think about what you would like to work on in your life. Write down your ideas and then we can move on. This last slide is basically next steps. What I've done, I've included a link there for Anatole and the Wheel of Whispers. If you buy that book, it tells you in more detail how to set your intentions, and the money, that the profit that we make from that book does go to support Kathy's Wellbeing Club. What I am going to be doing as well, I have on Facebook a Trusty Life Coaching page where I've also posted a picture of Anatole and the Wheel of Whispers. And I'm more than willing to work with people individually and in groups if they would like to do more on setting intentions and reflecting. So all you need to do is pop something in the comments and we could get in touch and have a chat about how I could support you. But mainly this whole presentation has been an experiment to see how easily I can get these things onto school. I would love your feedback. I'd love your ideas. I hope you've enjoyed this little presentation. I'm just going to stop sharing there now. Fabulous, I'm back. And thank you so much for watching. I'd love to know what you think. Let's see how this all goes. And if I don't see you until 2026, have a lovely Christmas and a really happy new year. Bye-bye.